Hello everybody and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. In this video we're going to be flying the Cirrus Vision Jet, doing a VIP charter mission with my newest company, Nelson Air Charter. And we're going to be flying from Lone Rock, Wisconsin up to Ironwood, Michigan. Now I've already got all of the flight planning stuff taken care of. Everything in the EFB is ready to go. And we've got fuel in the airplane and everything else with the aircraft management stuff is ready to go. So all that's left to do is to head out to the airplane, pre-flight, get our passengers on board, and get in the air. So let's go ahead and get this started. All right, welcome to the Cirrus Vision Jet G2 Plus. As you can see, it's a pretty nice looking airplane. This one's painted in the typical Vision Jet scheme. And in particular, this one is beautiful bright red and white with, some black and gray stripes on there. So I think it looks pretty cool. I went ahead and watched the airplane right before this because if you don't know, the airplanes in this sim get way too dirty way too quickly. So I went ahead and watched it for you guys for today's video. Now, before we get started on everything, just a quick disclaimer. I am not a Vision Jet type rated pilot by any means, and I don't consider myself an expert. I am definitely still learning this airplane. I do have a few hours on it by now, but definitely still learning it, and this video is no different. So I'm going to go ahead and do the pre-flight inspection, and then we will get our passengers on board and get out of here.
Welcome, madam.
Nice to meet you, Captain.
Okay, welcome aboard the Vision Jet. And as you can see, we're sitting behind the beautiful Garmin G3000 avionics. And we've already got our passengers on board. So they are ready to go, as are we. Everything on the pre-flight inspection looked good. So we're ready to go ahead and get going. So let's go and get our checklist out here. And pre-flight's complete. We're going to go ahead and do the before starting engines checklist. So pre-flight inspection is complete. We'll go ahead and say our passenger briefing is complete as well. So that's good. Parking brake as required. We're going to make sure the parking brake is set. And coming up here, we're going to go battery switches on. And generator switches on. So before starting engines checklist is complete. And as you can see, avionics are coming to life. So starting engines checklist. Strobe light on. CAS messages check. Just want to verify that there are no abnormal messages for our current phase of flight, and everything looks good. All right, verify thrust lever is idle, and it is. Brakes, we're going to hold the brakes to back up the parking brake, and we're ready to start this airplane up. So engine knob goes to the run position. You can hear the fuel pump come on audibly, and we have the CAS message for it, so that's good. And we're ready to run through the start sequence. So here we go.
Good morning, Cap. Today you've got the pleasure of taking Madam
ITT's
Charter
rising,
to Ironwood Charter Township.
and 1 and 2 rotation.
She's one of our top clients who booked the flight
Oil
for
pressure
her.
is rising.
Provide her with the finest service on behalf of our company. I know I can count on you. Have a nice flight.
And stabilizing. Batteries look good. Generators look good. Everything is nice and stable. That was a good start. Perfect. So we can check all that. That was just everything we were monitoring. Engine eyes protection as required. We don't need it at this time, so we're just going to leave it off. Master oxygen goes on. And G3000 avionics initialization complete. We're going to go ahead and go fob sync. That's good. And that's all good, so we'll accept that. Perfect. And bleed switch will go to the bleed position as well. So starting engines checklist is complete. All right, before taxi checklist, comm, nav, and GPS all set. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure all that is set. All right, comm, nav, and GPS are all set, and let's go ahead and listen to the weather.
Kilo Lima November Romeo automated weather observation 0200 Zulu. Wind 272 at tree. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 10C dew point, 16C altimeter tree 05 tree 01.
All right. We got the wind direction bugged, and the altimeter was tree 05 tree. That is set. We're going to verify that's within 75 feet of field elevation, and it is. So we've got the weather. We're going to get our clearance in the air. Altimeter is set and checked. Transponders on altitude, squawk and VFR. Heading bug is set to bug runway heading for now during taxi. That's good. Initial altitude set. Since we're VFR initially, we will put 17.5 in the altitude pre-selector. And then, of course, once we get our IFR, we'll go higher. So that is set. All right, flight controls, check. That is good. Flight controls are checked. Trims set. Roll trim is centered. Pitch trim is in the green. That's good. Flaps 50% selected. Toggle button press. Flight directors up. CAS messages are good. Now, this takeoff emergency battery CAS message, I believe, is a bug in this airplane. I was doing some research on it, and apparently you can get rid of it if you turn off one of the battery switches. But per the checklist, and I think the way they do it in the real airplane is with both battery switches in the on position. So I'd rather operate it realistically and just put up with the bugged CAS message rather than doing it the other way. So we'll just have to ignore that. Otherwise, CAS panel is good. Parking brake, we'll release that and we'll check the brakes and everything that we checked during taxi. So that is good. Next will be the before takeoff checklist. All right, so get ready to taxi.
Kilo Lima November Romeo traffic November 24280 is taxiing to runway 27.
All right, we're clear, rolling forward here. Brakes are checked. Nose steering's working and all of the instruments are working properly. It's good. Taxi checklist is complete. All right, coming up to the hold short bars. We'll be holding short of runway 9er, and then when it's ready for departure, we're going to be back taxiing to the other end. All right, before takeoff checklist, departure briefing complete. So we're going to be departing runway 27. So we will take off on 27 and then just make a right turn on course up to 17.5 initially. But once we're in the air, we'll get our IFR and then we can go higher. That's the departure briefing. And then for the emergency briefing, if we lose the engine and we are on the runway, then we're just going to keep it on the runway. If we're in the air, but we have remaining runway ahead of us to set it back down, then we will. Beyond any remaining runway, though, if we're below 600 feet, we're just going to land straight ahead or about 20 degrees either side of the nose, whatever our best option in that range is. And then above 600 feet, caps becomes available. So between 600 and 2,000 feet, we would likely pull the chute unless we had a better option. And then above 2,000 feet, we could attempt to troubleshoot whatever the issue is. So that's the departure and emergency briefing complete. Landing lights is required. We got landing lights on for the departure. Torpedo heat can come on. It's the probes on. Engine ice protection as required. We got that off. Wing stab off. CAS message, just a parking brake. And like I said, we're going to be ignoring the takeoff emergency battery CAS message. Trim is set. Flaps are indicating 50%. Takeoff emergency battery CAS message is not displayed at the moment, but like I said, that's a bug that we're going to be ignoring. And MFD configure, so we'll zoom it out for the initial departure. Otherwise, it's all good to go. So before takeoff checklist is complete, next will be the climb checklist. That's the normal takeoff procedure here that we're going to be doing. But I'm just going to do that from memory. And next will be the climb checklist. So we are ready to announce our takeoff, and then we're going to back taxi.
Kilo Lima November Romeo traffic November 24280, taking off runway 27 north departure.
All right, here we are. the threshold of runway 27, making our U-turn. One thing I love about this airplane is how sharp it turns on the ground. It just turns on a dime. It's pretty nice. All right, holding the brakes. Bringing our power up. There's the bugged CAS message. It's nice and stable. Takeoff thrust is set. And the engine is spooling up nicely. Everything's green and stable. Brakes are released. Airspeed's alive. "60 knots. 70. 80. 85. Rotate. Tap the brakes. Positive rate. Gears coming up. Landing light off. "115 flaps up. And we're clear right. We're gonna make our right turn on course, so go direct. Activate nav mode. And we'll go flight level change. And we're gonna go ahead and contact the new control agency to get our clearance.
Approach November 24280 is type 2 miles west of Kilo Lima November Romeo, 2,300 feet. Request flight following.
November 24280 approach. Squawk 6122.
Squawk 612280.
All right, autopilot's coming on.
80 radar contact 2 miles northwest of Kilo Lima November Romeo, 3,300 feet, altimetry 0. 55.
Roger 280.
3055 is set. We're gonna go ahead and turn the auto throttle on. Climb power is set. Good, we'll center this up and we'll go ahead and get our IFR.
Approach November 24280, 3 miles northwest of Kilo Lima November Romeo, 4,600 foot. Request IFR to Kilo India Whiskey Delta, ready to copy.
November 24280 is cleared to Kilo India Whiskey Delta Airport as filed. Squawk 6122.
November 24280, cleared to Kilo India Whiskey Delta Airport as filed. Squawk 6122.
280 read back correct. Radar contact 5,800 feet, altimeter tree 0. 55 turn right heading 010, proceed on course climb, and maintain FL 210.
All right, 210 is set.
Proceed on course climb and maintain.
Everything
FL
is set.
210.
We are IFR. Let's go ahead and knock out our climb checklist. Thrust lever, MCT, we're on climb setting there, so that's good.
Tree. Good day.
All right, continuing with the climb checklist. Thrust lever, MCT, we're in climb power set right there, so that's good. Engine parameters all look good. Pressurization is looking good. We are pressurizing. Cabin is climbing right now, so that's good. Ice protection as required. That's all good. And altimeter is set for now. Climb checklist is complete. All right, passing through 18,000 feet there, we're gonna go to standard pressure. And it's been a pretty uneventful climb, and it is a beautiful, almost perfectly clear day up here. So hopefully this will tend to be, continue to be an uneventful flight, and we can just enjoy the views along the way. All right, we are level at flight level 210. And I didn't show you guys, but it's super easy in this airplane to level off because it's all done for you. And of course, with the auto throttle, power management's done for you. There's no mixture to be leaned. I mean, everything is literally just so automated. All you need to do is make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I just made sure that we were leveling at 21,000 feet, and that speed Mach 0.52 was set up there. That's what the FMS chooses to cruise at. So that's pretty much it. We are cruising at flight level 210, and we are well on our way right now, showing about 38 minutes out. And you can see a little bit of snow coming into view as well as we head further north. Alright, since we're cruising along here and we have time, I went ahead and briefed the approach into Ironwood that we're going to be flying. And that is the RNAV GPS runway 27 approach. I went through the whole thing, but I'm just going to briefly go through it for you guys so you know what we're doing. Basically, we are direct to Dupney right now, which is the initial approach fix we're going to be using. We're going to descend to be at Dupney at 3,500 feet. I've already got that set up in the VNAV system. And then from there, we're going to go to Huron, and then a left turn inbound. It'll be 3,300 feet, little step down here until Petfee. And then from there, we'll step down to 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet on glide path is the final approach fix. And we should get that somewhere right around Crag. And then we're going to basically just follow that down into LPVDA of 1430 and look for 1 mile flight visibility. That's basically the gist of what we'll be doing. I've also got barrel minimums set up in there. So out of the 5 A's checklist that I like to use, we don't have AWAS yet. I've got that loaded in the standby of number 2. We'll get that once we start descending. Along with that, we'll get the altimeter setting. And then we do have the approach briefing complete already. Avionics are already set. And then the airplane will, of course, go into the approach configuration once we get closer as well. And in this case, we're going to be flying the approach at 120 knots indicated airspeed as a Cat B approach. So that is my plan. And we are only about 9 minutes from top of descent. And then we're going to be there before you know it. And as you can see, we've got quite a bit of snow cover now in the area. It's absolutely beautiful.
Vertical track.
All right, that's vertical track. 1 minute until the top of descent there. So we're gonna move our altitude pre-selector down to 3,500 feet. And that is set, and we'll arm VNAV. VNAV is active. And now we are on our descent into Ironwood.
Kilo India Whiskey Delta automated weather observation 0300 Zulu. Wind 264 at 12. Visibility 10. Sky condition. Ceiling 2,000 feet broken. Temperature 12C dew point 16C. Altimeter tree 04486.
Alright, 3044 on the altimeter. Altimeter is set, so we've got the AWAS, the altimeter set, the approach briefing is complete, avionics are set. So the last thing will be for the airplane to go into the approach configuration, and that will happen once we get closer. We're looking good on our descent here, and we are about to go into this visible moisture here, and the temperatures reading outside air temperature -19 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and get our ice protection equipment on here. And that way we won't pick up any ice going into this stuff. We can of course come down here to aircraft systems, go to ice protection, and we can see all that stuff working over here, which is pretty cool. So that's good. And we are a little less than 2 minutes out from dump me, so we're going to be slowing this airplane down pretty quickly here and setting up for the approach. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start slowing this airplane down. So we're going to go to manual speed and slow it down to 120 knots indicated for the approach. Speed is set at 120 knots. That is perfect. And just double checking the 5As here. We've already got the AWAS, the altimeter set. The approach briefing is complete. Avionics are set, and the airplane is coming into the approach configuration. We are below 190. Flaps going to come to 50%. Selected and indicating. So flaps are set. So we're looking good. We're going to leave our ice protection equipment on, at least for now. All right, coming up on high run. I don't know how it's pronounced, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. So that's our intermediate fix there. So we'll be on the intermediate approach segment next. And we're going to go ahead and pre-select 3,300 for the step down here. And as soon as we get the flip, right there, we're going to go down, vertical speed down. We'll set 500 feet a minute. It's a short step down. All right, we're coming up on Hefty, where we'll, once we cross it, we'll go down to 3,000 feet. There we are, 3,000 feet set, and we'll vertical speed it down. All right, glide path is going active. We're intercepting. We're down. Landing lights coming on. Here's down, 3 green. Landing light is on. And missed approach altitude is 3,500 feet. We'll go ahead and set that in the altitude pre-selector. I'm gonna go ahead and disengage the autopilot. And we'll kill the flight director as well. Let them know we're on final.
Kilo India Whiskey Delta traffic November 24280 is on final runway 9er to land.
Nope, we're on 27. We're gonna get the undesignated landing area on landing, but not worried about it. We'll ignore it. All right, in the water, landing flaps. We know we don't have ice. We're gonna ignore the CAS warning. flappers off. Here's down for green, 27 identified, landing. Power to idle. And there's the nose. Nice. It was a good landing. Not too bad of an approach and not a bad landing. Don't mind the undesignated landing area. They had me set up for 2.7 in the flight plan. I planned for 2.7. I shot the approach for 2.7. I did not plan to circle. The winds were favoring 2.7. They need to do something to fix that, in my opinion. So we'll get penalized for that, but I'm not worried about it. We landed on the runway that we should have landed on. All right, stop and hold short, and we'll clean up the airplane. Let's go ahead and get our eyes protection equipment all off. And we will bring the flaps up, reset the trim. And we're on the ground, so cancel IFR. So we'll squawk VFR. Perfect. We'll go ahead and announce taxi to park.
Kilo India Whiskey Delta traffic.
See where they want us to go, to the right.
Is taxiing to parking.
All right, here's our parking stand. We'll pull her right in here. And this will work
Great
just
flight. This
fine.
airline's pretty good. I'll consider
Set the
flying
parking
with them
brake.
again.
And we'll get our shutdown checklist. Thrust lever is idle. Engine ice protection is off. Bleed switch goes to fresh air. Master oxygen off. Lights, we'll leave the strobe on until we shut it down. Generator switches go off. Engine knob off. And engine buttons press. Waiting for N2 below 24%. There it is. And we'll get the strobes off, battery switches off, and parking brake is set. Shutdown checklist is complete. Let's see how we did. All right. Even with the undesignated landing area, we almost got to an S tier. Not bad. I'm not sure what the passenger satisfaction is all about. They seemed happy to me. But here's the important part right there. 223,000 credits. These missions pay out pretty nicely. And a little bit of a boost in reputation, so that's not too bad. And we should get a level up or two. Perfect. Well, you guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed flying the Vision Jet. Just trying to learn how to fly it the best that I can, getting comfortable with it. And if you guys are kind of curious about what route you think you should be taking in your career mode, I highly recommend starting out with a Skyhawk in a cargo company and then buying the Vision Jet. And once you're in the Vision Jet, you're going to be making so much money. Before you know it, you'll have a few million credits in the bank, and you could save up for just about any airplane that you want. So that's what I'm doing, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a fun airplane to fly, so I highly, highly recommend it. But with that said, guys, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I will talk to you all someday soon. Take care.